Everyone, it is 9 o'clock. I will call this Regional Transportation Commission meeting to order. And Friday, November 21st, 2025, we'll start with a roll call. Madam Clerk.
Good morning. Sandra Rosenberg.
Here.
Ed Lawson.
Here.
Alexis Hill.
Here.
Mariluz Garcia. It's via phone.
Here.
Bill
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Hillary Sheevy. Adam Spear.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. We'll do a Pledge of Allegiance if Mayor Lawson can lead us, please.
Okay. All right, please join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We'll now move into item 3, public comment. Madam Clerk.
Yes, we have Johnny Ang, Kyle Spiker, Dylan Highland from the Academy of Arts that would all like to speak together.
Welcome. Great.
Third chair.
Yes.
Get you one. There you go. Is it okay if we stand?
Y'all can stand or sit with the microphone. We want to make sure we can hear you.
Okay.
I think we have a third seat for you right back there.
We got more than one chair here.
Hello, my name is Johnny Ng.
My name's Kyle Spiker, and my name's Dylan Highline.
We are seniors from the Academy of Arts, Careers, and Technology. Buses are a major part of our community's workings. Because of this, we are advocating for an expansion and addition of bus lines so that it is possible to live in our city without the use of a personal mode of transportation in the hope of reducing traffic, promoting a greener community, and supporting economic growth. According to multiple sources, Nevada is one of the highest costs to own and operate a personal mode of transportation, with numbers ranging from $6,000 to $12,000 per year. On the other hand, the cost to ride the bus for 1 year with the purchase of a 31-day pass for $65 a month only comes out to $780 per year.
We have analyzed the schedules and stops and concluded that the routes and stops are insufficient to be a reliable way to commute to work and back, as well to travel across town. In our research, we have asked many people how close the nearest bus stop was to their house, and we were astonished by the numbers ranging from 3 to 10 miles away from the closest stop. And the average walking distance for a human is about 3 miles an hour.
We propose an extension to bus routes extending just beyond the major metro hubs and extending into neighborhoods, especially in the Lemon Valley, Verdi, and Foothills Meadows area. This expansion will allow the buses to get more customers, as well as reducing traffic and carbon emissions. This will also help the Washoe County as a stronger community and will grant public access to all areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, please share your data with us because it sounds like you undertook a project. We'd like to see more of that. We're actually undergoing a study on our public transit, so this is very helpful to see where there are gaps. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
We're
I think
impressed.
You should talk with Jim Gee over here. He is the man to talk to.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate you coming out and commend you for taking part of the public process. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And no other public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll now move to the approval of the agenda. Any changes? No changes. May I have a motion? Thank you, Mayor Sheevy. Thank you, Mayor Lawson. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. All right, that passes unanimously. We've got consent items. Do any board members want to pull the consent? Any consent? Okay, great. May I have a motion on consent?
I'd like to motion to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Sheevy. Thank you, Mayor Lawson. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. We'll now move into item 5, our public hearing. We're going to conduct a public hearing regarding approval of amendment number 1 to the FFY 25 to 29 Regional Transportation Improvement Program. I adopt a resolution approving the amendment, and we'll have a staff presentation. Welcome.
Good morning, members of the board. Graham Dollarhide, Transportation Planning Manager for the record.
This morning, as mentioned, I'll be presenting on the proposed amendment number 1 to the federal fiscal year 2025 to 2029 Regional Transportation Improvement Program, or RTIP. Thank you. So before I get into the project details, I'll provide a quick background on the purpose and process of the RTIP. It is a federally required document that represents a prioritized program of scheduled and fiscally constrained transportation improvement projects designed to achieve the area's goals and objectives established in the long-range plan, the Regional Transportation Plan, or RTP. And the RTIP includes all federally funded or regionally significant transportation projects, regardless of funding source, and carried out by any agency within the Metropolitan Planning Organization or MPO boundary. So this graphic provides an overview of the life cycle of a project. Although they may be derived from corridor or planning studies or other sources, projects don't typically become real, in a sense, until they have gone through the RTP's evaluation and prioritization process and are included in the RTP. From there, they are added to the short-range program of projects, the RTIP, when a specific funding source is identified for that project. And then projects cannot move into the subsequent agreement and implementation phases until they have been included in the RTIP. So some final context for this specific RTIP action. Before getting into the project details, this is the federal fiscal year 2025 to 2029 RTIP, which was adopted just a few months ago in August, and this would be the first amendment to that document and is necessary to add, remove, and update projects. In this case, an air quality conformity analysis is not required because the projects being added or amended are either exempt from air quality conformity analysis, or they are outside of the hydrographic area that is covered by the air quality conformity. And then a corresponding amendment to the RTP is not required in this case because, well, in accordance with federal guidance and also criteria established in the RTC's public participation plan. So the following projects are included in the proposed amendment, and I'll provide brief details about the changes for each. So the State Route 659 North McCarran Boulevard 3R project is being moved back to achieve fiscal constraint and is likely to be reevaluated for funding and project timeline in the future. Also, I'll mention that this is an NDOT-led project. The Pyramid Highway Sparks Boulevard Interchange and Connector Improvements Construction Project. This is an RTC-led project. It is being removed from the RTIP to recombine it with a phase of the with phase 5 of the Pyramid project. And this change is more about a process cleanup than anything else. Nothing is changing about the project or its timeline. This is simply a matter of aligning the RTIP with the RTP. And in fact, if you look at the project details in your agenda packet, you'll notice that the previously approved version of this project has no funding programmed within the 5-year RTIP timeframe. It's all beyond fiscal year 2029. And this project came to exist in the RTIP as sort of the result of the reordering of a piece of one of the phases of the project, and the proposed change here today doesn't affect project delivery. All other projects in the area will continue to move forward as scheduled, including phase 2 of the Pyramid project and the Highland Ranch Parkway Capacity project. And finally, I'll note that staff will continue to work on phasing or packaging of options for this project, and will bring updates back to this board as appropriate. So the Reno Towing and Recovery Incentive Program is another NDOT-led project. It is being removed from the RTIP due to lack of funding. It should be noted that this program has not yet commenced and that its cancellation will not result in the removal of an existing service. The I-80 Washoe westbound Patrick Waltham project is a new project to the RTIP that would add an auxiliary lane to westbound I-80 at the Waltham Way interchange in Patrick. This project does not require air quality conformity analysis as it is outside of the hydrographic area, and it's also considered to be exempt. And then the surface treatments on various bridge decks project. This is also a new project to the RTIP that would improve bridges at various locations around Reno. Again, this is more programmatic and exempt from air quality. So some final details about where we are and next steps for this proposed amendment. This would require RTC board approval and then subsequent state and federal approvals. A public comment period was held from October 30th to November 19th, during which time no public comments were received, although it was advertised through various media outlets, including Spanish language newspaper and the RTC website. The proposed amendment was also reviewed by RTC's advisory committees, the CMAC and TAC, and a summary of their comments can be found in the agenda packet. And finally, this action today also affords the opportunity for a public hearing. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you so much. Do board members have questions? No. Okay. And Commissioner Garcia, do you have anything online?
No, Commissioner.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open it up to public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I will close public comment and we'll move back to the action. I am looking for a motion unless folks have any further comments or questions. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Sheevy. Looking for a second. Thank you, Mayor Lawson. We got a rhythm going on. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And that passes unanimously. Thank you so much. We'll now move on to item 6.1. Authorize staff to pursue efforts to deliver the Keystone Bridge replacement project using CMAR project delivery method on parallel path with plan and ongoing efforts to use the design build project delivery method. This is so exciting. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Madam Chair and fellow board members. My name is Jeff Lobrecht. I'm here with Sarah Going, the project manager for the Keystone Bridge project, and we're here just to kind of give a quick presentation about where the project's at and our kind of process of going to CMAR or recommendation to go to CMAR on this project. So a quick kind of recap of the project. As you're well aware, we identified some goals with this project. And it really started with the replacement of Keystone Bridge. When you start looking though at Keystone Bridge, you got to really look at how is the bridge connecting on either end. You want to make sure whatever we replace on the bridge is facilitating those connections to the north and south side of the bridge. And so in this map here, you kind of see what that looks like. So the blue area is really where the bridge is at, but to the south, the California Keystone intersection, Booth Street, and then kind of how it connects up to Jones and Riverside Drive. That's really how we're looking at how this bridge connects this community. The California Keystone Avenue intersection is kind of a unique urban intersection. With the work that we've done thus far, we really wanted to make sure that it's achieving the goals and making the connections that we want to have with this project. A big component of this is the pedestrian improvements and bike connectivity in the corridor. So the project is looking at including those facilities over the bridge, but really when we started looking at the larger area and making those connections, we identified the connection between that California Keystone area, Idlewild Park, and then the McKinley Arts Center is kind of this weird triangle of connections that we really wanted to make sure we were achieving with this project. And then lastly, I'll kind of update and identify the Truckee River is a major flood area, right? I've just said river, but there's a lot of work going on in this area, and we wanted to make sure anything that we did with the project wasn't going to hinder or impact any ongoing efforts that the city or Truckee River Flood Management Authority were going to produce on this corridor. And so to quickly kind of talk about the schedule and where we're at in this phase of the project, we did undertake a large feasibility and alternatives analysis effort. We've wrapped that up. From there, we really were able to refine and define the scope of the project, which I've just kind of outlined for you. And we've now progressed to a preliminary design effort. And that preliminary design effort really kind of helps us refine a lot of these concepts that we maybe are uncertain of out of the feasibility study, and then kind of gives us a glance forward of what we need to keep working on and figuring out as we advance the design. We also began the NEPA effort of looking at all the environmental impacts with the project and kind of the sensitivities and mitigations of those things. And we're really ready to start our next kind of design phase of 60% design. And that's really the best time for us to look at how are we going to be delivering this project forward, knowing kind of the design details that we've defined and the ones that we still need to figure out. And so we've undertaken this next project delivery selection approach process. That's a lot of words, but essentially what it helps us do is it's a process in which we're looking at the project cost, schedule, kind of complexities of the project, risk items of the project, and look forward about how is the best way to deliver those things to the public ultimately when we go build the project. So we kind of do an analysis and we compare the different delivery methods of CMAR, which is construction manager at risk, or design bid build, which is the traditional way that we deliver projects. And CMAR, we've now kind of had a couple bridge experiences with this process. And to kind of remind you of what that process is real quick. So that's a process in which we hire a contractor early on in the design phase as kind of a support arm of our design effort. And they are going to be, the way that that agreement works is we have the option at the end of the design process to hire them to build it, or the option to go bid it and build it in a traditional design bid build method. Our selection process and review process for deciding whether or not that's a good idea or not really came down to a couple key items, and I've listed them on the slide here. This project, and we've kind of gone through this now a couple times with the Army Corps of Engineers, is a permitting process because the bridge is on the Truckee River. And so this 408 permitting process is very lengthy. It's been a major item on our Arlington Bridges project, our Sierra Street Bridge project, and now our Keystone Bridge project. On this specific project, as many of you are familiar with this area, Riverside Drive, there's a area that kind of separates Riverside Drive from the river, and technically that's a berm or a dike. The Army Corps of Engineers considers that a high importance facility, and so it's going to require additional scrutiny when we go through that permitting process. So we're already planning for that at this stage. Hiring a contractor on board will help us facilitate that process, so that's kind of a plus in the CMAR side of things. Another category that we look at in the project delivery approach is constructability and innovation. So you can think of, when you go think of a bridge, you think about how to build the bridge. You don't necessarily think about how to remove and replace the bridge. But this is a very large structure, it has a very large span. So this project specifically has a lot of details and intricacies with the removal of the bridge that bringing on a contractor earlier will really help us facilitate. And then those things also lead into environmental considerations and permitting considerations. Another thing with these projects that we've experienced on Arlington and Sierra Street is how impactful that bridge work is to our community. So I said earlier, Reno High School is right next door, Idlewild Park is right next door, McKinley Arts and Facilities is right next door, and then Keystone Bridge is a major connection between that South Reno community and the freeway. So understanding how that is impactful to our community is really important. Riverside Drive is a really important road in that area. There's a lot of use to that road. So having a contractor on board to really help us refine and define what that looks like, that construction process looks like, so we can outwardly communicate it to the public is really important for our project. I've kind of highlighted already the permitting and environmental compliance. Just knowing these details about what the contractor is going to do or propose to do really helps those processes move forward. The other things that obviously having a contractor on early helps us do is just refine and define our cost. So we can kind of come up with all these different scenarios of how this thing's going to cost. We can look at other examples. We can go look at the price of steel. But this kind of really helps us get the rubber hits the road. This is what they think they can do it for. And they ultimately, the end of this process could get us to a guaranteed maximum price. So there's a lot of certainty in that. And then risk management. These are big, complex projects. They're in the middle of urban areas. They have a lot of risk to them. And when we go through the traditional method, we do everything we can to define and refine and mitigate that risk, but it's always going to be there. And so the more we can do to kind of curtail that risk is a benefit to the project. And so I kind of come to the end of it, but here's our recommended action to authorize us to pursue efforts to deliver the project via CMAR. And that, as I said earlier, kind of goes on a parallel path with the design bid build process. And with that, Sarah and I are both here to answer any questions that you have about the CMAR process or the project itself.
Great. This is very exciting. I was wondering, remind me how we're funding this project at this point?
Yeah, so the project is currently funded through the design phase with off-system bridge funds that NDOT
Okay.
receives. So it's
Thank you,
formula
NDOT.
funds for that. And then we are currently kind of planning ourselves to be applying for grants. And
Okay.
So the federal government has a bridge improvement program that I think this project is a really good category for.
Yeah, because I know we had met with the Department of Transportation, done the tour of Keystone, shown them, it's falling apart, but we have a new administration. I'm not sure how we're making sure that they also hear that message. What are we doing with that?
We're keeping our delegation informed. All
Okay.
of them have seen it and their staff, and we will continue to keep it in front of them. I would say from everything we've heard in terms of the direction, and I'll talk a little bit about this later, from the administration is bridges are the preferred way to spend federal money. So
Okay.
the timing is perfect for this to be able to be put in front of the federal government to get funding, and we're feeling pretty good about that. Bridge money seems to be certain. Every other funding source is a little bit
Mhm.
challenging, so
Mhm.
timing could be good.
That's great, and we've been prepping for this, so we'll be ready for the money if and when it comes. Mayor Lawson, do you have anything?
Just, I know at the flood board, this part has been planned for and we have a design, so it's actually great timing
Mm-hmm.
for all of it. Yeah, we can do it all together. That would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mayor Sheevy?
We were talking about the walkway along it,
Mhm.
because Bill was pointing out, we all know this, that there is not accessibility.
Mhm.
So I think that that is really exciting. I assume, are you looking at a full comprehensive bike, walk? I mean, obviously, I think it would have to be pretty thoughtful. I know
Mhm.
that's what you do. You're going to make it thoughtful. But I think it's an exciting opportunity, really.
That's a part of the community that is not connected right
Yeah.
now. And so it's actually very difficult to get to Idlewild Park if you're riding your bike or walking. You have to go around.
This one knows. I
Yeah.
see her biking, walking.
Yeah.
She knows.
Yeah.
But I think it's an exciting opportunity. People are going to love it.
Mm.
And I think, too, with those kids right there from Reno High School
No.
and just the connectivity, it's a huge opportunity to, I guess, set a new tone.
Yeah, Sarah Going, project manager. I can speak to that a little bit. In our feasibility study that we did, that was a major component of analysis, is how we can best connect from the north and south side of the river and into that, as Jeff mentioned, very unique interchange at Keystone in California. So the bridge right now has no facilities for bicyclists or pedestrians. So the new bridge will. So that's going to be a major change in connectivity for the community and a huge, huge improvement.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and with Sarah on the case, we know it's going to be done because of your passion for connecting pedestrians and cycling.
Correct. I can't not do it.
I know, exactly. I'm like, okay, we're in good hands here. Commissioner Garcia, do you have anything?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I think CMAR is definitely the way to go. These are complex projects. And my question was about the active transportation piece, the passage over the Truckee River. So I drive this bridge all the time, and it's very difficult to visualize how we're going to squeeze in all those lanes plus the bike pedestrian path. Are you envisioning that it would be on the eastern side, just one lane going each direction, or are you looking at both sides of the bridge?
It will just be on one side of the bridge on the east side in our current design. We will actually be widening the bridge in order to accommodate more facilities on the bridge and maintain the same number of vehicle lanes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And the views down to the river are going to be magnificent for folks who want to do that active transportation piece to see that. So that will be another option for folks to enjoy the river and also to get outside. Sandra, do you have anything on the NDOT perspective? I'm not sure.
Well, I can say personally, I'm excited about it as well. And, at NDOT, where we do have this federal funds that flow through us for off-system bridges. And we have been talking about this bridge for years, if not decades. So I'm glad to see it finally moving. And I'll echo Bill's comments about this administration really focusing on roads and bridges. Their primary focus is the interstate. We met with Sean McMaster earlier this week at the AASHTO annual meeting, and certainly freeways, but bridges, keeping bridges in good state of repair will continue to be a priority for this administration.
Great. Well, we've got a lot. That's great. Thank you so much. I am looking for a motion on the recommendation for CMAR.
I'm happy to motion to
Thank
approve.
you, Mayor Shivi. Thank you, Mayor Lawson. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And that motion passes unanimously. Yay, we're excited. We'll go on to 6.2. This is Amendment 5 to the contract for operation and maintenance of fixed route transit services with Keolis Transit Services LLC, and authorizing the executive director to exercise RTC's option for the second 3 option term and increase revenue vehicle hour rate for normal service and special extra service in the second 3 option years as listed. And welcome, Jim.
Good morning, everybody, members of the board. My name is Jim Guillaume, the Director of Public Transit here at RTC, and here to talk about item 6.2. Just as a little bit of background, the way our contract with Keolis is structured, RTC provides the capital. We own and provide the buses. We own and provide the facilities. We also provide the fuel, and Keolis, as our operator, provides the drivers, the mechanics, the training, the safety programs, and so on. This specific contract, we entered into Keolis back in 2019. It was an initial contract of 4 years with the option of 2 3-year extensions. We exercised the first option for extension back in 2022, and we are here today to request the second and last extension for the Keolis contract, which would be a 3-year extension. Financial terms of the contract. The way the contract is structured is it includes a monthly fixed cost, which is currently a little over $300,000 per month, and an hourly variable cost for each additional revenue hour of service. That hourly cost is currently about $110 per month or per hour. Over the term of the contract, we do see some increases in cost. But I would note the bulk of the contract is tied up in that hourly cost. And that hourly cost is completely controlled, or I should rephrase, the number of hours provided under the contract is completely controlled by RTC. We determine the service levels, and that is used to basically determine the cost from Keolis. As you would expect, the largest portion of the cost increase and the largest portion of the contract in general is labor. And as a reflection of the new CBA between Keolis and the Teamsters, the Keolis employees will receive a $3 per hour wage increase beginning on December 31st of this year. Additionally, they will also receive a 50-cent per hour increase in their pension starting on July 1st of next year. The CBA between Keolis and the Teamsters was signed this year and is effective until June 30th of 2027. Beyond labor, obviously, there are other cost increases. And you can see presented on this chart, insurance is up 37%. Parts, our medical benefits, 42%. Parts, I would point out, 73%. And that is primarily a function of older buses and also all electric buses that have become very difficult to find parts for and keep on the road. Our Keolis maintenance team actually is 3D printing parts to save money, and they've started this on their own, which is a great cost saver for us, but really shows their innovation and how they're addressing our parts issues. Over the last year, we've seen, frankly, great performance from Keolis. The on-time performance for the service is over 90%. Our standard and the national standard is 85%. So they've performed very well. We monitor their drug and alcohol policy. We monitor their safety policies, their vehicle maintenance inspections. I would note that drug and alcohol maintenance are 100% always, which is one of the things that we get reviewed on as part of our triennial review. Most importantly, though, our overall ridership is up over the last year about 8%. We had 39 straight months of ridership increases. And with that ridership increase, we've seen a 9.2% decrease in complaints and 6% fewer accidents. So more people on the bus, more service, but less complaints and less accidents. That is huge. And so, and a great indicator of the level of their performance. So the fiscal impact of this resolution will be included within the annual budgets. The service hours are being monitored and will be reviewed as part of our Move More with RTC plan. That is our 5-year transit plan that is underway right now. But again, as we control the budget, we control the service hours, and so we will be able to reflect those hours within our annual budget. And for next steps, I would recommend approval of this extension, but also would also commit that as staff, we are also going to be looking at the contract structure in general, and also really especially look at the fundamental question, should we continue to outsource or should we bring it in-house? I think it's something that we as staff and we as an organization should do our due diligence every once in a while to continue to make sure we're making the right decision. So with that, the recommended action is to approve amendment number 5 to extend the Keolis contract for 3 years. And I would be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gee. And Mayor Lawson, do you have anything?
Yeah,
Mayor Sheevy?
awesome. New day.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you so much to our union.
Yeah.
They're very hardworking.
Yep.
This makes a difference.
And Commissioner Garcia, do you have anything?
No, Madam Chair, other than it's amazing to see more people and less accidents and less complaints. It's just like unheard of. So congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate that we're going to do a full transparent analysis of what it would look like if we brought this in-house. I know that this is something that folks want us to look at and make sure that we're, looking at these partnerships if they're benefiting the full community. And so I really appreciate you undertaking that.
Yep.
Mr. Thomas, do you have anything for us on this? Okay.
But I do want to recognize him.
Yes.
I really appreciate your collaboration in every facet because it is definitely a breath of fresh air.
It is.
So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great team. All right. Well, I am looking for an approval on the amendment.
I would
Thank
love
you.
to approve.
Thank you, Mayor
Amendment
Schiff.
5.
Thank you, Mayor Sheevy. All right, Mayor Lawson, thank you so much. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. We're going to now move into reports. And 7.1 is our update from RTC Executive Director Bill Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And staying on the theme of public transit, I've got some really exciting news to share with the board and the community. As we all know, at the federal level, funding decisions and funding methods and strategies and grants are all kind of up in the air. One of the things we're hearing, which Paul may or may not bring up, is there's some conversation about not funding transit out of the Highway Trust Fund. So that means the world of transit, I would say, at the federal level is in a state of flux. However, in much thanks goes to Senator Cortez Masto, Senator Rosen, and Congressman Amodei. We were notified this week that we received a $21.5 million grant to purchase 19 diesel hybrid buses. So the timing couldn't be better because, as Jim pointed out in his report, with Proterra going bankrupt and the challenges we've had with these electric buses, keeping them on the road, this will be the solution. This will be a significant impact to our fleet to be able to put on the road vehicles that we have a lot more certainty on where the parts are coming from and how much it's going to cost us to keep them going. So pretty exciting for us as a organization, and also I would say at the end of the day, really for the community. There's going to be direct community benefit from receiving this grant. So I wanted to thank on the record specifically Jim Gee and Jeremy Latin because they are The leaders of the great team of RTC of individuals that submitted the grant, and as you probably know, these are competitive grants. So the quality of your grant has a lot to do with your ability to get the money. So this is a exceedingly important and big thing for our community I wanted to share with the board.
Well, congratulations. That's huge. Yeah, I'm so
Awesome.
excited. Mhm.
Great.
So let me go to maybe a little more challenging issue coming out of the federal level. So as you all know, the recent government shutdown caused some real hardships to people throughout the community, including, and there's been much media coverage on this, the people who rely on the SNAP benefits. We understood here at RTC the challenge, and particularly thanks to the leadership of Commissioners Hill and Garcia, we moved quickly to provide transportation to families that were having difficulty getting to the point of distribution. And so our partnership, I think, has been growing by the year, by the week, by the day with the school district.
Yeah.
And this is one that really was a collaboration between the school district and RTC. They reached out to us and said they had families that were struggling to find a way to get to the food. And we offered up to 3,000 two-way bus trips. Those passes will be distributed by the school district based on need. So again, it's a perfect partnership that I think the community is really going to benefit from. And again, thank you, Commissioner Hill and Garcia, for bringing that to our attention.
Well, and you moved on it so quickly. The same day that we mentioned it during a commission meeting, I hadn't even called Bill yet. He watched the meeting and he called me up and said, "We're doing it. What can we do to help and be a partner?" So that's incredible. Thank you for staying so connected.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that thanks goes to our team too. Jim and his crew turned it around. So thank you very much. I also wanted to make the board aware of a upcoming meeting that you will be more formally notified of, but it is something that likely is going to draw some media attention and possibly some questions to the board. So in December, on December 17th, we're going to have a public information meeting at Red Hawk Golf Course. The details will be on our website, rtcwashoe.com. Purpose of that meeting is we will be getting the feasibility report from our consultants on what we're now calling the Northeast Connector, which is looking at what would be the most or the optimum route to have a road that connects Sparks, Spanish Springs to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. And that is driven, as you all know, by the pretty frequent and loud concerns about what's happening on Interstate 80 in terms of delay, accidents, and all the rest. So that meeting will be held to share the information. It's intended to be sharing with the public what our consultants concluded and what the information is that they considered. We do not yet have a next step action set up for it, but we will certainly be sharing with the board what we hear at that public information meeting, and it will be coming to the board for consideration and possible direction either in January or February of next year.
I am out of town on that day. I don't know if Mayor Lawson, are you able to go? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I just want to make sure that the board was represented. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's great.
So going back to food, once again, we hold our annual Stuff a Bus Holiday Food Drive to help provide food to people in need in our community. This year's event is December 11th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll be parking one of our buses at Sam's Club on Kitsky Lane to collect non-perishable food items. Once we have completed that collection, we'll take the bus to KTVN's Share Your Christmas Food Drive the next day to drop it off. All the collections will go to the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. And we want to give a thanks out to all the staff who signed up to volunteer. And we welcome anyone who wants to drop off food and come join us at that location on that day.
Mayor Sheevy.
No, I just wanted to shout out to, I believe, wasn't it Naomi Jordan that started this? Did she start that? Or did you guys do it way before that? I think she
Yeah, I think she
started
did. She
it like
did.
with the senior initiative.
Yeah.
And So big shout out to her.
I know, we're still doing it. That
Yeah.
shows that it's such a good program even after you've left the seat. So.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
good job. I love that so much.
So on the federal level, I just wanted to share with you a recent letter that I signed to FTA Administrator Marcus Molinaro in support of expanding paratransit options for our customers. And this particular issue is related to a challenge that's been basically in the air for a while now, which is FTA has some pretty rigid regulations on drug and alcohol that they apply to our public transit system. The challenge has been those particular rules and the way they're administered are very difficult to transition over to Uber and Lyft. And ever since the pandemic, Uber and Lyft have been a real substantial part of our ability to meet the needs of the community in ways that our traditional buses and paratransit vehicles can't. So not only ourselves, but a lot of public transit agencies wrote this letter asking for the federal governments to provide guidance that recognizes the value of these services, particularly to seniors. I think those are probably the biggest users of the Uber and Lyft, to be able to get to appointments, doctor's appointments, because often, our system is designed, they have to give us a day ahead notice. And then sometimes their appointments adjust, and it's a challenge for us to be able to be on demand. And these two resources really allow us to be specific to individuals' needs. So we think it's going to be really important. And I would, like I said, a lot of the people in the transit industry are on board with this letter because it is so critical to their communities also. Now I'd like to talk about some employees. First, I would like the board to join me in congratulating Lon Harder. I don't think Lon is here. He's probably sitting in front of a computer. Lon's been with RTC for quite a few years. He was an IT analyst, and he's recently been promoted to senior IT analyst. So I want to congratulate Lon on this achievement and let him know we appreciate the good work he does, as with most people in the IT world. And we're sitting here today with a lot of lights and things going on that really rely on those individuals. You don't see them often, but they're critical to our systems running consistently. And I think we usually know about them when something goes wrong, right?
Right. Oh,
We
yeah.
call 'em.
Oh, yeah.
So he's been a great asset, and we're proud of him. 4 of our employees are celebrating the anniversaries at RTC. Nicole Neary started about a year ago, actually November 4th, last November 4th, as our agency services supervisor. She has been a very quick study and has stepped into that role to really keep our support staff supported and provide the direction for an exceptionally productive group of people. So I wanted to acknowledge her anniversary and thank her for joining us a year ago. I also like to congratulate Shay League on her 1-year anniversary at RTC. Shay started as a senior transportation planner about a year ago, and she's involved with a number of critical plans and studies in helping our planning team be successful in shaping the future of transportation in the Truckee Meadows. Amy Zing celebrated her 10th year at RTC on November 18th. Amy is an accounting specialist who's been part of our finance team over the last decade. Her hard work is vital to RTC's continuing success at managing multiple sources and multiple grants and kind of a complex financial system that we work under. And then last but not least, I wanted to congratulate Ruby Barrientos, who celebrated her 20th anniversary at RTC on November 13th. Ruby is a mobility specialist in our Public Transportation Operations Department, where she works with seniors and people with disabilities to help them find the best way to use our services to allow them to continue to be involved and productive members of our community. So with that, I will conclude my report this month.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Thomas? Not seeing any. Great. We'll now move into our next report, 7.2, an update from Paul Nelson, RTC Government Affairs Officer on federal matters related to RTC. Welcome.
Good morning. Paul Nelson, RTC Government Affairs Officer. So now that the government shutdown is over, Congress has until January 30th to pass the rest of their appropriation bills. The CR was passed in exchange for future vote on healthcare subsidies and the rehiring of workers, federal workers that were fired, and then also back pay for federal workers that were furloughed. So they have passed 3 appropriations bills that will go through fiscal year 26. The good news about that is those do include congressionally directed spending. So that might be something to look out for in the future, as we're hoping that our request for earmarks will be included in that THUD bill. Congress will take next week off for Thanksgiving, then they'll be back for 3 weeks. Then they'll take a couple weeks off for Christmas break. So they do have a pretty tight deadline to get all these bills passed by January 30th. The House Transportation and Infrastructure Chair, Sam Graves, has said that with the upcoming Surface Transportation Reauthorization Bill, he wants to be more narrowly focused, so it won't really include a lot of pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure. He plans on imposing annual fees on EVs and hybrids as part of that bill, and that would go to the Highway Trust Fund. He hopes to have a vote from the House in the spring. We're hearing that it'll probably be a lot later than that, so we'll see about that. Some proposals in that bill would remove a state's ability to flex FHWA funds to transit projects. We don't expect those proposals to be part of that bill because there is bipartisan opposition to do that type thing. And Chair Graves has said that he's not interested in cutting the FTA funding for formula funds. We're working with our DC consultants to get some outreach to our federal delegation to make sure that they understand how these impacts would affect RTC. A federal judge has ruled that the DOT can't withhold federal funding for states that restrict cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. It's not clear yet if DOT plans on appealing that ruling. And this year, finally, 9 states cast their ballots on 19 total transit ballot issues, and 16 of those passed. So that represents $11 billion total of investment. That's a pretty impressive success rate. So it goes to show that some of these transit initiatives are really outpacing some of the other issues that people are voting on.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Nelson? Okay, thank you. We'll now move into 7.3, our monthly update from NDOT.
Thank you. Happy to see you all today. A couple updates, and then I have a few extra things that didn't make it into the slides yet. Last month, Member Reese asked about routes for snow plowing. I know he's not here today, but we're going to provide the update anyway, and we can meet up with him later if needed. If you look up at the the routes that are NDOT maintained, it's not always ownership, but typically aligns with the ownership. It's the major routes and a few smaller ones throughout the region. You can see the map there. Everything in red and yellow is something that NDOT maintains. But I will say that just because we're not able to plow all of them at once. We do have crews assigned to the different regions or different routes, but we also have a prioritization. So it depends on the storm that's coming in, what's anticipated, where really the best use of our resources are. I met with the district engineer and some of the experts yesterday talking about this, and sometimes we have the people and not the equipment. The equipment is running 24 hours a day during a major event. Our priority is I-80, number one, keeping that interstate commerce open. And then the other major routes, so 580, 395, US 50, which is not in Washoe County, but then that links to SR 28, which is another priority, so that if for some reason I-80 is closed or 50 is closed, there is that route in between for the Tahoe Basin. McCarran is up there, and they have their own crew. So we do the best we can based on what the storm is looking like and what resources we have. And we do try and coordinate with the locals as much as possible. Our crews do work 12-hour shifts during a storm, and they are assigned that shift from when we know a storm is coming in until the event is cleared. So even if it comes in late or it's not as bad as we think, we have those people standing by ready to go. Sometimes they're pre-treating, sometimes they are sort of monitoring the route. So occasionally you might see a snowplow running a route when it's not really that bad yet, and that's so they're in place ready to go as soon as it hits. We do like to keep our pavement completely clear whenever possible. So again, we pre-treat, we hit it as soon as possible. There are areas like Mount Rose that will occasionally close, but we are continuing to operate snow removal during those storms, even if the road is not open, because if we don't keep up with it, it's gonna be a long time for it to open. So just a little bit of more information. We're happy to meet with anyone individually to get into the details of that. We also have our district engineer here to answer any super detailed questions on it, but I assure you it is a top priority when the snow starts flying to make sure our roads are clear and safe for the traveling public.
And Mayor Sheedy may have something.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Currently, what does that look like with coordination between the local governments? Because I really think that it could serve all of us well, especially with this inclement weather that happens. And then, you know, when we had that last storm, people were jumping off of the freeways and they were getting onto local streets. And they said, oh, we got to reach out to NDOT, which is great. But I think that we need to have more cooperation whenever we're, you know, it's sort of an all-in event. So has there been any possible or an idea of a local coordinator so that everyone is sort of moving in the same direction?
Boo, why don't you come up and answer that while he's walking up here? I will say something I learned yesterday is the equipment is different that we have and that you all have. It serves a different purpose for different routes. Ours is wider, stiffer, all the things. And now I've provided enough time for Bhupinder
just
Sandhu
think
to come up
embedding
there.
you guys into our meetings and having that one point of contact where whenever, you know, we're saying, oh, we need this or that, it reminds me a lot of our fire collaboration. I think it could be highly effective, so we want to make you part of our team or whoever you designate.
Sure, yeah. I think there's some of that going on already, but if we need to formalize it more, so I'll let Boo cover that.
Good morning, everybody. For the record, Bhupinder Sandhu, District 2 engineer serving northwestern Nevada. Washoe County is one of 8 counties that fall under my area of preview, which is snow operations, construction, and permits and traffic. Yes, Mayor, that is a great question. And we do, our maintenance teams, our maintenance supervisor for the area is in contact with both the city of Reno and city of Sparks, along with Washoe County and the airport authority. The airport authority and NDOT have met in the past, and we have offered assistance to the airport because they wanted to try a new brining operation without investing a lot of money into the brine operation. They reached out to me personally, and we facilitated the sharing of resources. As Director Rosenberg said, that we have, our equipment is different. We know that the city has a lot different type of roads, a lot more, in some areas, different types of terrain. Our plows are big. Our plows are massive. They're all-wheel drive, 6x6. They're designed to be high speed. We are not designed to be on a residential road. They're just too big. Our plows only cut in a certain direction. Our plows have a fixed blade, which means that when we hit something, we destroy it.
But yeah, we definitely don't want you on our streets.
In the neighborhoods, you don't want us in your neighborhoods.
Avoid it.
And the reason I bring that up is it goes both ways, because our team, they drive our roads. They know exactly where every feature is. They know where every manhole is. They know when to pick up the plow, when to drop the plow, and vice versa. The city employees are also very aware of their roads, and they also know when to pick up the plows, when to turn a little slightly to the left, so they don't hit anything. But the sharing of the resources we have in the past, in the years past, that during significant storm events, if the city of Reno shares, we kind of share the freeway as our fence. If they do run out of material, salt, sand, they are allowed to come to the department. They'll call us, and we will let them use our salt, sand
We appreciate
mix.
that.
And then vice versa. Sometimes we're in our outlining areas, we might run low on salt, sand, and we reach out to the local entities or the counties out there. So we do have that. And it's done through coordination. Also, we coordinate with Caltrans.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I-80 plows are the same. California and Nevada has similar plows. So we do have a cooperation where NDOT will go into California to plow a few miles so we can make our plows take a safe U-turn, usually at Floreston.
Yeah.
And then Caltrans will come into Gold Ranch and or Boomtown, and then they will also actively plow. We meet with Caltrans at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, and then I have personally driven over to Marysville and met my counterpart, the Caltrans District 3 director as well. So I am a big proponent of any sort of communication and coordination because it does take everybody in this room, and including Washoe County that is not here. I don't believe, but
Well, thank you for your service. Let me ask you this. I assume that coordination is with Public Works,
yes, it would
those
be
departments?
yes, it would be
Yes.
my maintenance manager and his counterpart at the Reno City Public Works or Sparks.
Yeah. So, and the only reason that I mentioned that, which is great, that's where you should be coordinating. I think that it would be helpful to invite you to come and speak a little bit about, what you do and your role, because when we have these storms, people are reaching out to us, and it really helps us sort of navigate and, tell our constituents, what's happening. And so I think you're getting the coordination, and I love that. But maybe just one more level that comes down to us so that we can help you guys message, especially if you want people staying off roads, or, we've done some of that messaging, or if we're seeing areas where we could use more brine, or your preparation. I know a lot of people love to ask me what we're doing to prepare and plan. And I think our Public Works and you guys, you're the experts, you know it, you know what you're doing. But I think we can also help be your partner and message to the community because we're typically the closest to them. So I'd love to invite you, but it would really help us, I think, on the ground when the community is asking. It just helps us be your champion as well.
Thank you very much for that offer.
I think there's coordination on the communication side too, but again, we can always strengthen that to make sure we're sending consistent messages to the traveling public about which roads maybe to travel on or avoid at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I know everybody out there on the Public Works side is doing everything they can to keep everything not just open but safe for travelers. So we're always open to any additional coordination.
You guys have been great, and you've showed up. I think maybe just something right before we get into those harsh conditions and it's so weird, this. I mean, it can be snowing here and then 70 to the next day.
Yeah.
So, but maybe just some sort of community briefing so that we can push out messaging of, how we can help you and those types of things. And also remind people about the weather in the sense of when those temperatures drop, because people, I think, get caught off guard. So that's really how we can help you message. A lot of people get on the roads whenever that temperature is just too low and it turns into ice. Makes your job a lot harder when you're trying to get through and you have accidents everywhere. So I think all of us coordinating together, like a big winter brief before we get there, maybe can also help you, and because we want to be good partners too. But thank you for helping us.
Thank you, Mayor. And I would be in trouble if I did not speak that we do have nvroads.com, which is Nevada 501.
See, and we forget about that, and we can be pushing that
out. It's
out.
always updated. It's updated for winter driving, winter snow chains. It has mileposts in case you are stuck somewhere. It has a GPS location, and it's also used for crash information to avoid areas.
Yeah.
We always push the NV roads, that's the letter N, the letter V, and then roads at .com. We also have an app called the Nevada 511. And then we do work with, again, our PIOs, I believe the City of Reno and the and NDOT PIOs, they do coordinate messaging. And as Sandra can tell you, we have a 4 a.m. call during some storm events.
See, and we should be telling everyone, you guys are up at 4 a.m.
Actually,
doing the hard work.
They're up far before that. That's
I'm
when
up
they
at
pull us
3
in.
because I like to sleep. I like to sleep in, but my team is up at 1.
Sleep in until 3:30.
So but I have my team coming in at 1 because again we are 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 3 to 3, And then my team is driving every road that's highlighted there,
That's awesome.
including some city roads, just so we can see how the city roads are coming into our infrastructure. And then we have a meeting with the director and the leadership of the department, and then we determine our next steps of actions.
Well, that's good, because it's good for us to be reminded of the work that you do, because it's important. We want you to know that we really appreciate you. And I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I could just call Tracy, and, you know, she's really accessible and great. So, you know, I just want to make sure that we can do everything to help you.
And your team has my phone number as well, my direct team. Your direct team has my direct contact as well.
Is that
They're not
Travis?
shy.
That is through
Good.
Carrie
Thank you
Costi
so
and
much.
Phil.
It's really appreciated. Good job.
Thank you. And
Get
remember,
some
ice
sleep.
and snow,
Get
take
some
it
sleep
slow.
till 5.
Yes, take it slow. Or stay at home.
Stay at home.
Anything else before I dismiss myself?
No, great job.
Okay, thank you.
Great job, and nice
Thank
to
you so
meet
much.
you.
Likewise, thank you.
And I will note, we listed a bunch of roads on there. That's not quite all of them. I don't think Huffick or Holcomb is on, like, there's a few other little bits and pieces that we own, and we'd be happy to have discussions about that ownership of those roads as well. Throw that in there. I wanted to provide an update on our project to widen and resurface I-80 in West Reno. The widened interstate lanes are looking good, but the new lanes can't be open just yet. Lanes remain reduced for worker safety as they construct sound walls and work on barrier rail. And many of the new interstate lanes still require additional layers of asphalt, which crews will be working on as weather and temperature allows. I did want to recap on an important milestone that took place last month. On October 31st, we reopened Stoker Avenue underneath Interstate 80 in West Reno. Since January, Stoker Avenue has been closed between Stardust and West 4th Streets as we widen the I-80 bridge over Stoker to construct an auxiliary merge lane on eastbound I-80. Crews installed 114,000 pounds of steel to widen the bridge. Stoker Avenue is open, but interstate paving and improvements will continue through summer of next year. We will remind motorists to drive safely and anticipate overnight lane and ramp closures as crews continue to repave, widen, and improve more than a mile of I-80 between West McCarran Boulevard and Keystone Avenue. My pages are stuck. Crash Responder Safety Week, that's this week. Tragically, traffic incidents are the primary cause of death for police officers and emergency medical responders nationwide. There were 46 roadside first responders struck and killed last year on the nation's roads. To recognize Crash Responder Safety Week, we have been hosting multiple Touch a Truck school events across the state, including at Greenbrae Elementary and Sparks. These events are focused on having school children meet and greet Nevada first responders and view first response and highway maintenance equipment up close. This Monday, we also joined the Nevada State Police and other first response agencies to host a media event to remind drivers of Nevada's Move Over law. And throughout the year, Nevada traffic incident responders train for safety. Since 2008, NDOT and Nevada State Police have brought together local first responders as well as private towing and hazardous materials responders to train together. We call this organization TIM, or Traffic Incident Management Coalitions, and they improve road incident response and roadway safety while reducing travel delays and keeping first responders and others on the road safer. If any of you have attended the Nevada Traffic Safety Summit over the years, there's typically a demonstration of, a crash and how the responders all work together and who's in charge and all of that. I've been able to attend a couple over the years, and it's pretty eye-opening about the amount of resources, but also the coordination and what all the agencies are doing to keep the first responders safe while responding to an incident. 82% of Nevada first responders have participated in the Nevada Traffic Incident Management Coalition efforts. Thank you to all the first responders who have participated and all first responders who bravely work to keep Nevadans safe on the road. And for the safety of our first responders, we remind all drivers to slow down and move over when approaching first responders or incidents on the roadside. That's it for my slides, but I do have a couple of other updates that we don't have slides on. You all are probably interested in the I-80 widening, I-80 East widening project. No, not important to you. You're going to
not
build
something
a
we
whole
talk
other
about
road,
every day
so,
with
right?
constituents.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This fall, the Federal Highway Administration approved the environmental assessment to widen I-80 between USA Parkway and Sparks Vista Boulevard. We have been in the process of selecting a contractor for the progressive design build of that project. There was a bill that passed this legislative session to allow us to use this alternative delivery mechanism. So this will be, this project is the one that is allowed to do it this way. So we're excited. We have completed reviews of the proposals, and we have a notice of intent to award that went out on October 17th to Granite Construction. We are currently in negotiations with them, and we are hoping to bring that to our board in January. If you watch our December board meeting, we'll go through a little bit more details on the process for selection using that alternative delivery mechanism. And again, we hope to award that in January. So things are happening. We're pretty excited about that.
Construction would start when?
Construction would start, I believe, next summer. Yeah.
Year and a half.
Less than a year from now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There is some work going on already in terms of we're doing some geotechnical work, grabbing some samples, things like that we awarded separately in order to be ready. But we do have, actually I take that back, it probably is a year and a half because we have to finish the design work and all of that. But we are going to be working on some of the construction activities as soon as possible, but the heavy duty stuff might be a little bit out there. Yeah.
Get it. Yeah, we got to get that road going.
Yeah, I think we're expecting, these are not in my notes, so this is where I get myself in trouble. I think we're expecting about 3 years of construction, but we do anticipate, minimizing the impact as much as possible. But as you know, that area is already fairly congested. So be patient. Everyone wants the projects, no one wants the construction, but.
I know. I talked to a constituent last night who said he's got a 2-hour commute most days. So I'm assuming with lane restrictions, it could turn into double that.
It's going to be a challenge. That's one of the benefits of using progressive design build, because we can look at things like traffic control and adjust schedules as we go. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be rough. Yeah. It's going to be rough for a couple of years. But it's going to get done. And personally, as a safety advocate, the part I'm most excited about is the wider shoulders. So it'll be 10-foot inside shoulders, 12-foot outside shoulders, in addition to the additional lane. Because one of the biggest issues we have out there is if there is a crash, there's not really the space to move over. And that's actually the cause a lot of the congestion is just fender bender or something, and they don't have the room to move out of the way. And this will provide really safe, we just talked about first responders, and this will provide the space to not only move the crash out of the way, but for first responders to respond in a safe way by having those shoulders. So we're excited about that, and that's we're able to do it as soon as we are because of a grant that we received for $275 million from the federal government. So we're very excited about that. Obviously, the project is going to cost more than that, significantly more than that, but we're excited to get going on it. Yeah, and then there was a mention earlier about reauthorization and what's happening in Congress. So as I mentioned, I just returned from the AASHTO meeting. That's the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, or all of the state DOTs, basically. And we're very involved in the conversation about reauthorization. This was mentioned by Paul, but the funding is going to be a big issue. We are pushing for it, but we're not expecting the numbers to go up. We're hoping that they don't go down. Some of the programs may be removed potentially. This administration is really looking at going back to basics, focusing on, again, the interstate system and state of good repair. So we'll see. It's up to Congress. We're continuing to communicate with our delegation as well as through AASHTO to all of Congress in terms of the importance of that. The IIJA does expire September 30th of this fiscal year. So we're hopeful that they get it done before that. They haven't done that in quite some time. So, but we are hopeful that there's a real conversation about the needs out there. So yeah. With that, I'm happy to take any other
You
questions.
have to tell us about an award you won.
I brag privately. I don't like to brag
I'm
publicly.
gonna let you brag to the
Thank
millions of
you.
people watching,
Um,
because This is a big deal.
I was now I'm blushing. I was awarded this week from ASTRO, the ASTRO President's Special Award for Merit. I've been very active in the Transportation Policy Forum, which is their their policy board, over a number of years, and the outgoing president awarded me with this special award. There's no committee or anything. It's just up to the ASTRO president to award this to one person who they felt
In the whole
contributed
US?
in the whole U.S.
Wow,
Cool.
that's incredible. Well deserved.
They surprised me with it. I didn't know ahead of time, which almost left me speechless, but not quite. Yeah, it was a big honor, and as I told them, I'm just happy to be able to have that role and be able to participate in those national policy conversations, particularly with reauthorization coming up. So yeah, I do have a national voice through that organization, so I'm happy to carry forward, local and regional priorities as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you for
Love
your
that.
leadership. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
And when I go to DC, I always feel like a proud mama. They're always like, oh, this person and this person. It's like, we win a lot of awards in this region, a lot. And
We do.
people, I always go to these things thinking I'm going to learn, something. And actually they're learning from us.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
And I will add to that, a lot of the conversations right now, one of the big issues on reauthorization is states versus locals.
Yeah.
And
Love it.
who has control. And it's getting pretty contentious, and it just makes me appreciate the partnerships that we have in Nevada. We don't always agree on everything, but talking to my partner states, it's amazing how much we talk to each other, how well the coordination is between the state and MPO in particular, as well as the locals. Again, we don't always agree, we're not going to, but we have those conversations, we talk to each other, we have each other's phone numbers, and when there's an issue, we get together and we solve it, and that's very unique and special about our state.
Very true, because it's very sticky across the country. If you see governors, arguing with their mayors or whatever it looks like, that doesn't help anyone. We are very lucky in the state of Nevada. We're small enough that we know each other. We know each
Yes.
other well,
Oh, yeah.
which is great, actually. It really helps us coordinate. So good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
That always
you.
comes with more work, and everyone wants you to travel more. And the unintended consequences,
That's
right?
right, that's
Good
right.
job.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move into item 8, our commissioner announcements and updates. Do any commissioners have announcements or updates that they want to share?
No,
All right.
something came in my email and I didn't get it. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but maybe like a traffic safety type of, it might be a community-led initiative. I don't know if anyone is aware of that. I don't know if it was at top of your mind. I have to go back and look at it. I just didn't, it looked pretty fascinating, so I'm gonna forward it to you guys. So hopefully I can attend and give you some feedback.
Is that a zero fatalities
It
event?
looks like it. Maybe like a psychologist around. It provides a totally different aspect of what I've seen before, but like psychology is around traffic safety, and I think that actually is fascinating, and it really matters because we know that crosswalks can offer a false sense of safety, and people just walk across them. As a matter of fact, want to thank the Department of Transportation. They gave us a grant to put beacon flashers in all of our boards. And so that was really cool because I do think that it really helps whenever you're doing something different or you're just trying to get more people to recognize that crosswalks can give you a false sense of safety. People walk across them all the time and look down at their phones, or they're running with their dog and think I can just go out there and run in front of it. And I think we have to continue to message how dangerous that can be if we're not paying attention. And just because there's a line there doesn't mean that people are going to follow the line.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm going to attend. I'm going to try to, and hopefully I'll come back with some good information. But I loved it because it was very community driven. And I think it builds trust because on the government side, as you guys know, people don't always trust the government. So I love to see the community-led initiatives. I just didn't know if maybe we had some participation, but It'll be good.
let us know about
Madam-
it. That's great. Yes, Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Shivi. I think you're talking about the event that Dr. Tara Goddard from Cal Poly was invited to from the Truckee Meadows Bicycle Alliance. She presented a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and I believe she was setting another one, another second presentation. And I had attended, and I saw several RTC staff members there. So thank you so much for getting out there and learning. But her presentation was, yes, it was very scientific, but it brought it in through the public health lens, that it's a public health crisis.
Yeah.
We're seeing so many pedestrian deaths. And the event was actually celebrating the World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims, whether they're bicycle or pedestrian accidents. And so I was very impressed with the way that she framed that presentation, and it definitely was a packed house. So I highly recommend it.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. I'm so glad you were there. Thank you so much. But I think it's incredibly needed. That would be something to coordinate, quite honestly, with District Board of Health. I think a tie-in there could be really effective. We really need to really push that out because those are deaths that could have been prevented. So
Yeah, absolutely.
but thank you so much. That's great. I'm going to follow that.
That's great. I just wanted to say thank you to the team. I asked for RTC staff and Washoe County staff to look at Highland Ranch Road and some school crossing issues. So thank you for getting on that, and thank you for following up and making sure that we're, speaking of, making sure that our kids are safe while they're going to school. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. I would just encourage, Bill, you know me, but I would just encourage to try to always give your team, and you're like this, but ways that are completely outside the box and very different in design, whether it's color and arts and those types of things. You see it highly effective in cities. Because think about it, a crosswalk, I know that people might think that it's not significant, but a crosswalk that's painted like a piano or those types of things where it just stands out. It's just different. And that's why I do think green bike lanes matter, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Spending the money on the paint.
yeah, so more innovation, more color, more art.
Love it. Awesome. Well, now we will go to our final public comment. Madam Clerk, is there any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, thank you so much. Well, thank you all for a great meeting. It's 10:17. We are adjourned.
Look at you, so efficient.